Hello and welcome to the Footballers Football Show. Joining me today are Scott Allen, Ryan McGowan and our special guest is Dylan McGeouch. Great to have you on the show today, Dylan. First and foremost, we'll get right back to obviously the start at Celtic. You were a young lad that supported Celtic. Talk us through what it meant to play for Glasgow Celtic.
Yeah, obviously growing up in a Celtic family and early memories of going to the games, and my dad obviously was a huge fan, so he used to take me and my oldest brother to the games, and yeah, eventually obviously got through the youth system at Celtic and stuff like that, and being ball boy and stuff like that at the games and the Champions League games and stuff like that. So that was my kind of first memories. We go to Parkhea, and obviously years later having the opportunity to go to Celtic first team and then making my debut and stuff like that, which we'll probably touch on, but like that first game at Parkhead with my family in the stand, and obviously the community from where I'm from and stuff like that, obviously
far from me,
not far for you, aye. You know that the people, your family, your friends and stuff are out at the game, and from going full circle, being a kid in the stand to the ball boy to eventually getting on that pitch is definitely the highlight of my career and something I always remember. Yeah.
Youth level, you played with Callum McGregor, obviously went on and had a fantastic career at Celtic. What can you tell us about what he was like as a young player coming through, and is he similar age to you or a wee bit?
Yeah, no, we're the exact same age. We came right through the youth together. Obviously a top player. He was always top of the tree like each year.
Was he always a centre midfield player, or did he play?
No, he kind of played off the left, obviously left footed. Somewhat myself, like kind of more attacking sense when I was younger, like playing on the right and stuff like that.
Because you were taking on half-turn driving in that.
Aye, I was early in my career. It was more like a dribbler, like running forward and dropping the shoulder and stuff like that. I think eventually you find your place where you're comfortable with and your best attributes where I kind of dropped into like midfield kind of sitting area. But yeah, coming through with Callum, he was always one of the best players at each level we moved through. Obviously I went to Rangers and he was there and playing against him and stuff like that. You know, he was a top player, and I think he went Notts County on loan and stuff, which really kicked him on, and he seen that he kind of had that goal threat as well, which he's carried on obviously through his career. He's a massive goal threat, which as a midfielder, if you can add goals to your game, then just elevates you. And I think working under Bruni for so long, taking all the attributes away from the pitch, all the captain responsibilities, you can see that now. He's took that in strides, and he's turned out to be a great player and a great captain for the club.
You mentioned Rangers there. Obviously there's a story going about. The story was Walter Smith obviously got you into Rangers, and you went back to Celtic. I think Neil Lennon was the one that kind of got you back into Celtic. How did that come about? I know he came and seen you down at your house at Milton, and there was a few people outside.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, yeah, it was mad. So, long story short, my kind of oldest brother played at Celtic as well. Good player and stuff. He went full time, like 16. He went full time, and then I was maybe 13 at the time, doing well in the youth, but he had a falling out with one or two of the coaches at that level, and decided that as a family he was going to move on. So I was still only young at the time, and my dad and my family kind of decided that I was going to move as well, take both of us out. Right. Which,
were you happy with that at the time, or did you?
To be honest, I didn't really have much say in it really. Like, I wasn't upset. It wasn't anything really. It was just more so I probably supported my older brother. Do you know what I mean, at the time as well? Probably thinking like they've done him wrong as well, so I'm not happy. But I was really young, and my dad thought that was the best thing for us. And I remember my mum had like voice notes, like voicemails and stuff on the house phone at the time, and Tommy Burns tried to kind of talk us round to not taking both of us out. Do you know what I mean? Which I totally get. But we'd made that decision, and I think Rangers for the couple of years before that always asked the question, like, would they ever come here? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But Celtic family, like, it was never really an issue. It was never thought about until we decided to move. So once we made that decision, the best place for us really was Rangers. Stayed 10 minutes from Murray Park and stuff. So yeah, that was the time we went there, which I loved. Absolutely loved it. Like, I always speak about it. My time there, like, I absolutely loved it. They were great to me.
What coaches did you work under at Rangers?
It was like Alan Cutwood, Billy Cutwood. What's the guy at St Johnson? assistant. I don't know if he's still there.
Alec Cleland.
Alec Leland. Them sort of guys.
Was it different from Celtic?
Yeah, I was going to say.
It was, I think it was, like, Celtic, I had, like, Martin Mull and stuff like that. It was legendary, like, youth teams and stuff like that, and they focused a lot on, like, the technical side of it. Like, you could probably see, like, a lot of players that came through Celtic youth, you could kind of spot them, like, they're very technical, very comfortable in the ball, that kind of stuff. I felt like when I went to Rangers, when I was, like, 14, 15, it felt more like, not aggression, but more like men's football, do you know what I mean? Like, it was about, like, winning and stuff like that, and, like, tackling and competing and all that kind of stuff. Like, obviously they still worked on the technical side, but, like, it felt more like, and probably at the time Rangers first team were probably more similar to that as well. Like Walter Smith, like, kind of really, like, hard teams to play against. I mean, physical, put you under pressure. Obviously with the quality as well, but yeah, that's. But each year it was getting more serious, I suppose, when I was coming through at Rangers. Near the end, I was kind of training with the first team, maybe once or twice, do you know what I mean, like a week or something like that, if they needed an extra player or whatever, like I was getting called up to go and train and stuff, like recovery days and that, so it was progressing well, and then I played against Celtic reserved at Bartley with Rangers, and Neil Lennon just get the job, and they were watching, went on to have a good game, scored, and a day or two later I think my agent got in contact and said that Lennon wants to have a conversation. My contract by that point, I could speak to clubs and stuff. So,
Had you let your contract obviously run out?
No, it was funny because just leading up to that, it was my dad actually. One morning I remember I went full time and stuff, and my dad mentioned it one morning. He's like, "Do you know your contract's up at the end of the season? Like, you need to go speak to them." But I was doing well, and it was never a case of like I was worried. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I wasn't getting, I was kind of that. I was confident. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I was doing well and getting called up to train with the older lads and stuff. So it was almost like, well, I know I'm going to be here. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of thing the next few years. So I was quite relaxed about it. I think they were as well because of that as well. Like, they kind of seen me progressing. So we weren't really worried about anything. And then by that point, I went and kind of initiated the chat, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like, we'll sit down, we'll have a chat with your agent and your dad and stuff. That's fine." But between that period, I'd done well against Celtic. Lennon just get the job. A couple of days later, got in contact, wants to come and speak to us. Wanted my family, my mum and dad, to go over to Parkhea and kind of speak to them and stuff, but my mum was quite shy and didn't really like getting dressed up and going and meeting kind of football people. She kind of let my dad deal with all that side, so she kind of didn't really want to do it. So once we went back to them, they said, "Well, if that's the case, we'll come speak to her." So they turned up like during the week down Milton, where I'm from, which you obviously know.
Everybody was coming.
Aye. I think,
did everybody know he was coming?
Aye, everybody knew he was coming. Also, my mum let everybody know, do you know what I mean? Like, cleaned the house.
Cleaned the house,
top to bottom, like, got all the fancy cutlery out, all that kind of, the mugs and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? It was a red carpet treatment.
Celtic mugs?
Aye, it was. Yeah, so turned up in Milton, do you know what I mean? Like, all the young team and that, kicking about the end of the street and that, waiting for the cars and that coming, so it was a big deal. It was a big deal, do you know what I mean? And I think, see, up until that point that night, probably, I wasn't... Do
you think because Neil made that effort to come and see you, that swayed your decision a wee bit?
Aye, it definitely did. It definitely did. Because even when I heard they wanted to come speak to me and stuff, I wasn't... I would have gave them the conversation, but I was set on staying. Like, I really enjoyed it. I thought, I've got a great chance to go play for the first team here at Rangers and stuff, like... But once he came and spoke to me and stuff, that was when everything changed, really, like... And it was probably my only chance ever going and playing for Celtic at that point, because if I'd stayed at Rangers, I'd have probably maybe made my debut in the next 2-3 years or whatever, and then the chances of going back to Celtic would probably never happen, do you know what I mean? So that would have probably been the last chance if I ever wanted to play for Celtic, that would have been it. So once I'd spoke to him, that was when my head turned in, yeah.
Did Neil meet your dog?
He did, eventually, Lenny.
That's tremendous.
Big ginger, kind of American bulldog. We kept him at the back, to be fair, until we obviously had all the proper serious conversations, and then we let him know that basically the dog's named after him.
That's a bit.
Which he found funny, to be fair. Like, you know what he's like, he's a character, do you know what I mean? And he knew he was walking into, do you know what I mean? He knew the sort of family we were and where we were from and stuff like that. And I think they liked that. I think that's what they liked about me, like tenacious, kind of streetwise, brought up in the streets kind of thing, do you know what I mean? Like, playing World Cuppy with your mates, not out in the street, just kind of no care football, do you know what I mean? Like, they did like that, so Yeah, that was that.
Did he give you some assurances, obviously coming to Celtic, that there would be opportunities for you in the first team? Or
Definitely, yeah.
Well?
Yeah, definitely. It was like, he didn't promise me the world. Like, he's an honest guy. He didn't say you're going to come in and play every week, but I was, 17, just turning 18, so I was still a kid, and he said, listen, you'll be in the first team changing room, you'll be in my squad, you'll be travelling, you'll come on whenever I feel like you can come on and stuff like that and affect the game and all this kind of stuff, which I never really had that at that point yet. I was training a couple of times with Rangers first team, like here and there, but to be part of the first team squads and travelling and being in the dressing room with all the kind of Scott Browns and Wanyama's and Kyles, all this kind of stuff, that was when I was like, right, this is serious, do you know what I mean? Like,
Did you have any conversations with Walter Smith?
I did eventually, yeah. So once everything got kind of tied up and stuff and it got out that I was going to be moving on, we had the conversation. Like, they called me up one morning, said the manager wants you. I thought it was like the youth manager at the time, like Steve, what's his name again? Sinky.
Aye, Sinky, aye.
So I thought that was our boss kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Our manager kind of thing. So I thought it was him, and it was like, nah, like Walter wants you. Do you know what I mean? Like the boss. So I was
The
like,
proper boss.
How's your stomach?
that's no nice, mate. I don't know if you've been to Money Park, but like obviously the youth team's like one part,
Yeah,
first team's the other part. So you have to walk through, and you're nervous. Do you know what I mean? I was 17 at the time. Do you know what I mean? I was a kid, and
Had you told anyone at Rangers like that Lenny was coming to your house and that you were going to?
no, I don't think they knew. No, I don't think they knew until everything had been like sorted and stuff
Sorted
like that.
out.
Yeah.
Were you nervous going into Rangers knowing that?
Yeah, for the first day it kind of got out is what I was travelling into Money Park at the time. I was driving at the time. I was driving in, and I stopped in at the shop. For some reason, I stopped in for something, a drink or whatever, and I looked down. I seen the newspaper, and it was like my face on the back page. Which I've never seen myself in any media or anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I was like, double took it, and I was like, fuck. So I bought the paper, sat in the car, read like most of it, and then phoned my mum and dad, and they like, just come home. Basically said like, Dylan KO's jails again or something like that, and it was like, oh my god. So somebody would get a hold of it, obviously, and put it out, and it was a bit of a disaster. So I took like a day or two off just to kind of let it settle, and because I couldn't go in and face them. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I actually loved my time there. Do you know what I mean? It was almost like, for me, I was like, I can't face them. I can't tell them I've done that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel bad for it.
I feel like you've...
I feel like I've let them down, even though like I have, but I had my own reasons for it, and it wasn't anything to do with them. Do you know what I mean? And eventually, once I went down, I walked in, tapped the door, he came in, and it was Walter Smith, Alan McCoy, Ian Durant, and Kenny McDowell, the four of them.
Oh, you've been
you
so
could imagine
nervous.
the four of them.
I'm just thinking being that age.
Honestly. I honestly think I would have probably been more nervous doing it now than I was at that age. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was nervous, but like, you're young in that. Do you know what I mean? You're like, you don't realise what you've just walked into, really. Like, now I'd be like, oh fucking hell. Do you know what I mean? Like, but so yeah, I walked in, and to be fair, I thought I was going to get grilled and like now tortured, but they were brilliant. They were brilliant. They were like, what's the situation? I filled them in and stuff like that, and they're like, right, it means nothing. Like, it's a pre-contract. It doesn't mean anything. If you want to stay here, we can make you stay here. Do you know what I mean? We can change it, kind of thing. So, which I didn't expect. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of threw me a little bit. But once I explained my reasons and stuff, and grown up and all this kind of thing, and what it meant to me if I had the chance to go to Celtic and all this, they totally understood it. Like, they said, like, if we were in the kind of same position, we would probably make the same decision as you. Do you know what I mean? But they gave me love. To be fair, they did. Like, I thought they were going to go the other way, but they showed me love. Do you know what I mean? They're like, well, you know how much you're appreciated here. If there's a chance that you want to stay here, we'd love to make it happen, kind of thing. So it's up to you. And eventually, obviously, I moved on and stuff like that. But there was never any like problems or anything when I was there. Like, they were really respectful, and that's how I always speak really highly of them. Do you know what I mean? Like, my time there as well, it was great.
Yeah, I think that shows you the class of Walter Smith. I don't think there's many.
I think there's too many stories, isn't there? There's so many stories like that about Walter Smith and Alan McCoy that, you know, they just seem to have that classy element to them. No matter what situation it is, you just hear so many more positive stories that, you know, they could go one way or the other. They could have been like, well, you're not training with us till the end of the season, but they just seem to always sort of hit the mark, which is really good to hear.
Yeah, nah, they're definitely like. Obviously,
But that shows you how far being that type of person goes, though, because Dylan's sitting here years.
Yeah.
You're a big Celtic fan and can't speak highly enough about obviously the club, the way they treat him, and then obviously guys like Walter Smith, McCoy. It's incredible. Really.
You never forget that, I don't think, as a young player. You never forget how people treat you. You know, it could be 10, 20, 30 years, you bump into somebody and you think, he was good to me. Whether it's a senior player or a manager. Whereas there's other guys who want to be an arsehole to you, and you just bump into them and you go, there's them.
It takes you straight back to that.
It takes you straight back to that moment. And obviously coming through at Celtic, you get into the first team, I think your debut was against Motherwell, coming on as a sub, and then, I mean, I don't think you'll ever score a better goal than one against St Mirren. I remember it well. You come on as a sub. I think it was 5-0. Was that the last goal?
The fifth goal? It was the fourth. Yeah, the fourth, getting at the fifth. Sorry.
And I mean, talk us through. I mean, growing up with Celtic fans, scoring at Parkhea, but particularly scoring a goal like that.
That was crazy. Like fairy tale stuff. Like as I said, like you couldn't write a better script. I'd come on like a week or two before at Motherwell, which was great. Obviously, like my dad and that were at that game as well, which was a big occasion for us. All the family and neighbours and that all there.
Milton there.
Aye, like Poso, Milton, everybody on the one. So, but the Celtic one, the Parkhead one was phenomenal. Because leading up to that, every game I always wanted this like 2 or 3 up. That was like, come on, like score goals. Because I knew like my chance of getting on is when the game's kind of done. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I knew Lenny, he knew what it meant to me as well. Do you know what I mean? So he was desperate to get me on as well. So. But I think we went like 3 up, like first 20 minutes, half an hour or something. So I'm thinking, brilliant, out warming up, running up, and doing star jumps in front of Lenny and that. I mean, like, put me on. We go into the second half, and obviously we're 4-0 up, and then he put me on, which even just to run out the pitch was.
Is that midfield?
No, I think I might have been in the right. He might have put me in. A lot of my games early on with Celtic were kind of like off the right, coming inside. Usually with Forrest would run his race, do you know what I mean? He'd like get a good 60 or whatever, 65, score a few goals or set a few goals up, do you know what I mean? Then he'd take him off, and then I would go on like right wing, but coming inside and like linking up, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just getting on was it. Do you know what I mean? I've made it. That's all I need to do. If I played one game, that was it. But I've obviously the ball drops at the edge of your box with a corner or a free kick or something, and then I pick it up and I just start running with the ball. And I think Jim Goodwin, obviously Dundee United manager, he comes across to like absolutely smash me, and I've like nicked it round him and ran round the other side, like, and then I'm running at the back 3 or whatever it is, and I've got about 4 different options, and I end up like that many options. I kept running, and I didn't want to make the wrong pass. Do you know what I mean? Like see if I just had one pass on, I'd have probably played it. Yeah. Like I'd have been like, I'm like that as a player. I'd have just played the pass, but I had like 3 on, like Samaras, Stokes, and Hooper or something. And I'm like, I don't want to make the wrong pass here. So I just kept running, and before you know it, I'm at the edge of the box, and everything's like narrowed down, and I've not got a pass on. So I was like, come inside, like drop the shoulder, and I always hit it with my left foot and hits the back of the net, and it's like, it's mad. Run across. Didn't know what to celebrate. Like I'd never thought about scoring. Do you know what I mean? Really, so I didn't know how to celebrate. Just ran away. Everybody kind of grabbed me. I think Gary Parker was one of the big catalyst for getting me at Celtic as well. Like he loved me as a player. He was the one that's like, you need to go get him. So he got a bit. No, he get a bit of stick for a couple of weeks after, because when I'm running across with all the kind of players and that, he's run down the touchline a little bit, like halfway down the pitch, to like jump on us and stuff like that. And there's pictures of it and stuff, and the boys were all hammering him after. And then eventually I worked my way up to like Lenny. There's a picture somewhere of me and like Lennon like celebrating together, and Melby and Thompson in the background. Like, you can just see in their face, they knew what it meant to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think they got that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think even you, they
just as big a buzz.
They pictures for obviously growing up supporting Celtic, and you've scored the first goal at Celtic Park, and you've got Lennon, Melby, Thompson, these type of guys. I
used to go watch the games. Do you know what I mean? Like, understand like the legends. Do you know what I mean? And then celebrating with them, and even like a year or 2 before, I'm watching Gary Hoopers and Wanyama, Scott Brown, all them, big Charlie McGrew and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And now I'm like Samaras. Do you know what I mean? Another one, like. And now they're my teammates, do you know what I mean? Like pictures like all jumping on top of me, like buzzing for me, and my family in the crowd. And
a lot of hard work goes in for that moment. No, it's easy enough to support a team, but the amount of work you actually need to put in, even more so I sometimes think when you're from one of the areas in Glasgow where it can be difficult at times. You know, so.
No, I know, like fair play, like my dad and stuff like that, do you know what I mean? Like they always made sure I was disciplined and didn't get sidetracked. There's a lot of distractions growing up where you're from and stuff, and always disciplined, do you know what I mean? And they were great for me that way, and make sure I didn't miss any training or nothing. Gave me a good platform to go kick on, do you know what I mean? And for them to beat the game and stuff like that, it was like, as much as the high, it was emotional as well, do you know what I mean? And probably more so now when I look back, it's more like, you forget sometimes, do you know what I mean, until you speak about it and that, and you think,
because it's
fucking hell, that was...
You've probably done that. You've probably grown up in the streets in Milton and Poso, dreaming about scoring a goal for Celtic and running through and celebrating.
We used to like score goals in this playground and stuff, do you know what I mean? And it was Larson at the time, and like everybody's doing the Larson celebration and Sutton and all this kind of thing, do you know what I mean? And then you're at the game, do you know what I mean? And you're doing that, and there's young kids watching the game. Obviously, I'm like no turned out with them, but like they're watching their team as well, celebrating that goal. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and again, still speak about it to this day. Like at the end of the season, I went up and got play of the year, but goal of the year as well for Celtic as well.
It was a great goal,
but it wasn't even in the top 10 for Scottish goal of the year. Wasn't even in the top 10.
You're not happy with
I'm not
that?
happy. If they want to rewrite, I don't even know where we got it. Are you? But
You can get you could be up for a lifetime achievement goal of the season all this year.
not even in the top 10. So I was a bit disappointed with that.
How was it when you got home after like that game, scoring and stuff? You know, when you said the young team was waiting at you in the street, was it a bit like that when you got home?
That was when it all changed. It was like obviously when I signed there, like for me, things changed a bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, but after the goal, it was like people kind of recognise you. Do you know what I mean? Like people recognise you in the street a little bit, and that's that wee guy that scored that goal and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? And so that was a big jump from before. But yeah, just like the community, the family. I think my house was full before I even got home. Do you know what I mean? Like, my dad would have had a party. I think I wanted to go out that night. I think it was a Saturday. Yeah, I would have been probably like took my car into town like just to go out. Do you know what I mean? And like take in the buzz.
We watched the game today.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it was wild. Like for a few days after, like just everybody like getting in contact and stuff like that, and it was brilliant.
You still get a strip?
Aye, my mum and dad's got it. They've got all my stuff. Aye, my boots and that as well. Everything.
Who were your big influences at Celtic? You know, you spoke about Scott Brown and Hooper and guys like that, Wanyama. Who was your biggest influences at Celtic coming through as a young player, in terms of players?
I think players probably Bruni and Charlie Mulgrew, probably them two. Obviously top players, do you know what I mean? But like I spent a lot of time with them away for the pitch. Do you know what I mean? Like when we used to travel quite a lot of games and stuff in the hotels before every game and stuff. So I would always just want to be around them. Do you know what I mean? Like I was a fan before I even played. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I just wanted to be around these sort of players that are playing week in, week out, and they're top players. Do you know what I mean? And to be fair, they enjoyed having me around as well. Do you know what I mean? And I would ask them questions about players and all this kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting because that was the two players I was closest to when I moved to Celtic.
But Bruni's like the heart and soul, isn't it? He's
Aye, he is. But he's just so down to earth.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like the career he's had and everything he's achieved in football, like the way he was away from football was phenomenal. Like you couldn't believe it.
Aye.
Like even when my family members or cousins and stuff met him and stuff, they couldn't believe because they had him up there, and then they meet him and they're like, he's like you wouldn't even know he was a football player. Do you know what I mean? Like he just speaks to you like everybody else. Do you know what I mean? Like he just talks to everyone.
used to put my boots at Hibs by the way.
Did he?
Fucking murder.
I'm
getting that in the show by the way. It takes some other time. Anyway, he's like, you can lace mine now. So I was like, okay.
He's but yeah, I spent a lot of time with them, like when we were away and stuff like that, and just nitpicking them, but just seeing the way they worked as well, like the standards that they set every day in training. Bruni was probably he could take his foot off the gaff as he wanted. Do you know what I mean? Like he had done everything, but every day he was at it every single day.
Well, yeah.
Probably the highest runner, most aggressive. If somebody wasn't at it, he's digging them out. Young lads and stuff like that, if they're not pulling their weight and stuff, he'd let them know. But in a right way, do you know what I mean? He wasn't just a moaner for just being moany all the time. Like he done it when it needed to be done. Do you know what I mean? And obviously he's had the career he's had, but him and Charlie Mulgrew probably the two biggest influence at Celtic at that time.
You obviously played with James Forrest as well. We mentioned him earlier, on track to become Celtic's most decorated player. I mean, how talented is he? You know, and again, a humble guy who's never in any bother. We spoke about in the show on Friday. He's never in the paper. He's never in any trouble. A dream professional. Did you find that as well when you were?
Yeah, brilliant. Obviously a great player. Like through the years, Lenny loved him. He was Lenny's boy, man. Lenny's boy.
From the get-go.
It killed me a little bit because he was Lenny's boy, and then when he would take him off, Lenny would put me in his position, and I was the total opposite player. Do you know what I mean? Like I would come inside and try to link up the play, and he wanted like that sort of position. Just like, you know what Jamie is like, he'll square you up, he'll knock it, he'll run, he'll come inside and put balls in the box and stuff. So, it killed me a little bit that, but like he was a top player, goals and assists, and to do it consistently over the years. Do you know what I mean? Like there's been a lot of different managers who you know, at Celtic they can just replace people, no problem, spend money.
And a lot of times fans have maybe thought that it may be time to move him on, and he came back. And
I think he had a spell when he was out and injured for a bit, and then maybe was it Ange or Rodgers first time round, and he came in for like 5 games, remember, and he scored like a hat trick and important games as well. Like
it was after when Ronnie Dyler was leaving, there was question marks, and then when Rodgers came in and seen him, Rodgers
just took off again. So to do it that long consistently is phenomenal. When it could easily been replaced, do you know what I mean? Like through at Celtic, when the money they can spend. So, but again, away from football, he's a top guy, as you said. Like never any problems, never hear any negative about him. Humble guy. Like if you met him in the street and you didn't know he was a footballer, you wouldn't know. Do you know what I mean? He's just a normal guy, who's done great. So yeah, he was a great player and a great character.
You're fortunate to play against Real Madrid. Obviously, I think it was a pre-season game. You get a bad head injury. Yeah. What's your recollections of that? Because I remember it was a real serious one.
Yeah, it was pretty serious. So we played a Champions League qualifier like that week before. So a lot of the boys obviously had played, and then they had this Real Madrid game coming up in Philadelphia. So a lot of the boys that played the Champions League were playing the week after. So they kind of mixed the team up. It was like kind of Celtic 11. So obviously I was involved in that. But we kind of thought they were going to do something similar. Like we thought they would now rest the big boys and like add reserve team or whatever. So it wasn't really like anticipation was that big. Do you know what I mean? Until we get in the dressing room and then Lenny came in and he had the team. He didn't even like tell anyone. He just came over at the board and he just started writing up the names. And it was getting worse. It was like oh no. Like it was he wrote Casillas, and then it was is it Arbidal? Right back, and it was Ramos, Varane maybe, Carvajal or something, the Portuguese left back.
Conceição.
So that I thought Ramos, Varane, Casillas and stuff, and then we get in the middle of the pitch. It was Alonso, Kaká, and it might have been Ozil or something like that. No, maybe not Ozil. Somebody like some big hitter. Ronaldo, the right, Benzema, and I can't remember. Di Maria. Do you know what I mean? So
is everybody looking at each other?
We're all looking at each other and like, oh fucking hell. So yeah, but then you're just buzzing. Do you know what I mean? Like I would rather that.
That's what you want. Yeah, you want that.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and you're going to get spanked anyway. So it was like you'd rather play the big dogs. Do you know what I mean? And have the memories for that. So yeah, that was crazy. And then Mourinho was the manager on that as well. So like without warming up, and like I think I spent half the warm up just like watching like their players
what
just,
they're doing.
Like, doing keep-ups and all that, Ronaldo and stuff. Do you know what I mean? You're like, wow.
Doing doggies.
Wow, aye. And then in the tunnel before the game, like we're all out waiting on them. They came out in the white strip. Do you know what I mean? Ronaldo's like,
God.
Like a mannequin. Do you know what I mean? The arms, the legs, the calves, and all, like just like the perfect guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then Mourinho comes through the middle to go out before us and stuff, and you're like, oh, everybody's all like looking at him and stuff. Like, just couldn't believe it. But it was probably up until the head injury, it was probably my best game for Celtic. I think it was just because it was like there's nothing to lose. Like just go enjoy it.
You think you get more time in the ball against teams like that or players like that at that level?
Sometimes, sometimes obviously they weren't gun ho 100%. Do you know what I mean? It was a pre-season game. Do you know what I mean? So they were looking to get on the ball and play and get a bit of fitness out of it. It wasn't like we were at each other, but yeah, it was a good game. And again, it was just probably no nerves, just go play. Do you know what I mean? I'm not expected to even keep the ball if it comes. Do you know what I mean? Like just go play. So I've got a few photos on my Facebook memories and stuff that comes up sometimes. I'm like the ball's come in and I've like went to go that way and Alonso's like checked to go that way and I'm spanning that way with the ball and stuff like that, and he's like to tackle me, and there's one way like Kaká and stuff like that, and I'm like, you forget you played against players like that. Do you know what I mean? Like growing up in that, like it's incredible. But obviously the head injury was a bad one.
Was it a clash of heads?
Yeah, it was like I kind of showed it in my face, and Madeira, the Zaluskas like played like a kind of lofted kick, and it just went up, and I had to go across and challenge for it. And as I've done that, the boy Sahin, remember the Dortmund manager at the time, well recently, but he's come in and won the ball, and as I've jumped, his shoulders caught me in the face and knocked me out cold basically in midair and landed. And I think the way I landed as well, it didn't help, and obviously all the players have ran over and tried to grab my tongue and all this kind of stuff. So it was quite a serious one, which I never really knew until I woke up in the hospital really, and I had scissors coming right up my shorts and top and just kind of stripped me off and doing brain scans, all this kind of stuff. So, but it actually wasn't that bad in the end. I broken jaw, I had to get a plate put in and stuff, so it could have been a lot worse, but good and bad memories for that day anyway.
Is that your worst injury? Apart from the hamstring, the one that you're coming back from?
Yeah, I'm just coming back now from my hamstring repair. That's probably the longest I've been out, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like 4 months, so yeah, the jaw one was like 6 weeks really. I was physically okay, it was just my jaw to let that set with the operation and stuff, but the one now is probably the longest, just coming back from.
Was it difficult leaving Celtic? Obviously you left Celtic and you went to Hibs, but what was the reasoning for you leaving Celtic? Was it lack of game time or just wanting to go and play somewhere else? Or?
Yeah, I think I had a few years, obviously coming on here and there, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I was getting to that age where it was like, I need to play first team football, do you know what I mean? Like week in, week out, and training all week for the games and fans and feeling a part of it. Even though I was part of it, when you're lifting trophies and stuff at the end of the season, you know you've not played 30, 40 games, do you know what I mean? Like it's hard to feel like this is mine, do you know what I mean?
Proper part of it,
yeah.
He's
So,
well, John Terry there.
full kit, is he?
You know, I don't remember.
No, I didn't.
Celtic, you were.
Don't worry, I done the same as well.
John Terry.
I done the same. But yeah, I went 6 months to Hibs on loan that season, and I really enjoyed it. Like
Hibs the Championship at that point?
They went down, and Stubbs spoke to me and stuff like that, and he was like, "Come here and play games. You know what I mean? Come enjoy football, play week in, week out if you're fit, all this kind of stuff." So I went there and played, and once I had that little taste of training week in, week out, and playing for like proper big club, but like for a reason at the end of the week, do you know what I mean? Not just training for the sake of it and the fans and stuff like that. So, and
Being relied on it.
I relied on, and the fans like relying on you and stuff like that. So I had that little taster of the proper first team. So once I had that, I knew that I couldn't go back to just sitting, maybe hoping to make the bench or maybe not, and all this kind of stuff. So I was kind of at an age where I was like, right, I need to go get some games. So once I went back to Celtic, it was kind of, and they knew that as well. Do you know what I mean? That was the reason I went there, to go get games and stuff like that and kick on, and they were happy for me to go try follow my career rather than just sit on the bench all the time. So eventually moved on, but it was tough. Like as much as I knew it was the right thing, it wasn't easy. Do you know what I mean? Like knowing that's it up. Do you know what I mean? That time my career is up. But again, I'm fortunate enough to look back and have good memories about it. Do you know what I mean? And I know a lot of people get to say that they grew up and played for the kind of team they grew up supporting. So it's definitely something I always remember. But it was time to move on by then.
So obviously playing under Alan Stubbs signed you. Were you there at the time, Scott?
Yeah.
Aye. And I remember the dream midfield. That was a great midfield. John McGinn was there as well.
That was...
So it was Dylan, John McGinn and Marvin Bartley. It was a tremendous midfield three in there at the time.
Scott left.
Listen.
Wow.
It was one of the... I think it was one of the strongest midfields in the country, never mind the Championship at the time. You know, you three were tremendous together. How did you feel under Alan Stubbs? Did you like him as a manager? Obviously went on and won the Scottish Cup at Hibs.
Yeah, I love Stubbsy. My first conversation, I remember before I signed, I wanted to speak to him. I said to my agent, "Can I speak to the manager first?" And I just wanted to know where he seen me and stuff like that. Cause I knew it was a big decision to go out and loan and play, but I wanted to make sure it was right. And they went to the Championship and stuff, so I was like, "Oh, the Championship and stuff." Do you know what I mean? So, but once I spoke to him, I was like, "Nah, this is it. Like, he's the right man for me." Like, he was like, "If you're fit, you'll play for me. We know how good you are." All this kind of thing. He wants to get on the ball, control the possession. So it was everything I had to hear really, and I loved him. Like, football terms, he was great as a manager, but as a guy as well. The way we were saying earlier about the way you treat people and stuff like that, he was phenomenal. If we were up George Street and stuff like that, sometimes you'd come out and meet us and stuff, and you'd think that would be awkward meeting your manager on a night out and kind of thing, but it was a total opposite. It was a total opposite, honestly. Obviously, if we were doing well, but he would come up and he would get involved, buy us a drink and stuff like that, because he knew how important it was for us to have a good group together.
Especially a lot of new players as well. We're all kind of...
It's all similar age and similar...
Yeah.
That always helps as well.
We never took ourselves that serious.
Craig's and that in there who had came under a lot of criticism, obviously, been coming down the previous season, but he was... Guys like him, Scott Robertson, were actually really crucial in that.
Definitely.
Especially for us younger players at the time.
Dave Gray, obviously.
Dave Gray's.
Liam Fontaine, all them. Daz McGregor. A lot of kind of senior lads who kind of looked after us younger lads. I mean, like, so it was
Paul
was a great balance.
Steve-O's as well.
Yeah, you had Paul and Steve-O and stuff.
Did you just travel through?
Yeah, we travelled.
Travel through the Gala?
Yep.
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme for a coffee.
Or a donut.
Sometimes.
Was that to Trinent? Was it Trinent up and running at that point?
Trinent, yeah.
Trinent, it was
fair jaunt, innit?
a good drive. We used to have a good
Ah,
drive.
we used to have a good laugh.
Just the two of you, who else was in this car?
Usually just us two, wasn't
Yeah, it was us two. McGinn for a while as well, and then he moved through. And then my last season at Hibs, me and McGinn shared a flat. But aye, Trinent, it was a good bunch, wasn't it? It was like not taking ourselves too serious.
You throw in your Jason Cummins in there as well, you know what I mean?
Martin Boyles and that characters.
Martin Boyle came.
Obviously,
Good team.
we're going to speak about the cup final, which Ryan's been desperate to speak about. Obviously,
2012.
He's got his own cup final.
I know, we're going to speak about yours as well, Ryan. But obviously, disappointing in the league not getting into playoffs. We were getting into playoffs and not going up that season. But to go and then finish that season by winning the Scottish Cup, what's your memories of that day, obviously?
Oh, that was mental.
I've been at Hibs for 7 years, and every single season, every single person, because we've never won it.
I know.
You need to win it this year, Tam. It's been 90 years, 95 years, 100 years. So the pressure on every Hibs player going into a cup final, Scouse or nose,
We lost the semi the year before, didn't we?
That's right.
That
We shouldn't have lost.
we would have had.
You do feel the pressure, obviously, as you said. Everybody reminds you of it, do you know what I mean, when you're around about the town and stuff. And obviously, Hearts had the kind of power to kind of get on Hibs fans and stuff, how many years it's been and stuff. So you did feel the pressure, but I think, obviously, from us, like coming from Glasgow and stuff, like you didn't really realise how big a deal it was, do you know what I mean? Like, I think growing up, the teams we support, they won a lot, do you know what I mean? So it was like, it was kind of normal for us to be winning things.
Yeah.
Obviously, Hibs fans, they would tell you about it, but you didn't realise how big a deal it was until, obviously, that day.
The build up to it, where did you stay overnight?
We stayed, what was that hotel? Oh, was it Dalmahoy? Would it have been Dalmahoy?
Is that the golf one?
It might have been. We had 2 cup finals, didn't we, that year? The Ross County game.
That's right.
So I may be getting one of them mixed up.
Schalke. Last minute.
That's right. But so again,
Going into the game, you obviously Rangers probably favourites. Anthony Stokes, we know all know Anthony Stokes. I mean, I didn't have a great. He came back to Hibs. I played with Stokes at Falkirk. He was phenomenal. He came back to Hibs that season and he wasn't great. He wasn't great, but he kept his best performance, probably his life.
Yeah.
For that game, I mean, James Tavernier, I mean, he rinsed him inside out.
Didn't he, with him, but
Well, if Anthony Stokes is on it, he's a serious.
he was phenomenal. I still say this to this day, like he's up there with one of the best players I've played with
so talented.
on ability.
Aye.
See, sometimes in training and stuff, like you're like, wow. Obviously, a lot of other factors and stuff like that. But even at Celtic and that, like when I was there, like
Him and
Hooper up front were incredible, and he was at it. Do you know what I mean, he was fit physically, everything about him. He was brilliant. But obviously, when he came back to Hibs, some games great, some games not. But then he kept it for the cup final. He was just a one-man show, really, wasn't he? He was tremendous, and he was one of the big reasons why we went on to win that cup. To be honest, obviously Dave with the goal, but
It goes to 2 each in that corner. What were you thinking with that corner?
see, to be honest, I was struggling the
way to
week
deliver it.
before with my groin. I'd tweaked my groin and I was struggling, so I was a bit nervous getting into the game. Like, I didn't really know if I was going to play or not because I hadn't trained properly at all until that day. So Stubbs had put me in, so I was a bit nervous, thinking, I hope I don't break down and all this kind of stuff coming off in the cup final early, all this.
How early did it in the week? Like day
So
before?
I'd done it. No, so I'd done it like.
No, that you knew you were starting. Sorry.
Oh no, that day.
Day of the game, and told the team.
The day of, I spoke to Stubbsy the morning. So we're having a meeting at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning to do the team. Stubbsy kept it under wraps. Didn't really want everybody knowing the team and stuff too early. So we're having a meeting, say 10 o'clock, and he pulled me about 10 to 10. Pulled me in a room somewhere where we were staying. He was like, "How you feeling?" I said, "I'll be honest with you, like I feel okay. I didn't manage to train, I think, until the Friday that week. So you know what a Friday's like, you don't do much. So I hadn't tested it properly. So I said, I've not done much. I don't really know how it is, but I feel okay now. But again, I don't want to be like I'm 1,000,000% ready to go if I need to come off 5 minutes in, when I might make the full 90. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't really know. I left it up to him. And thankfully, 5-10 minutes later, we got into the meeting and my name's up there on the team sheet. So again, I was a bit nervous, do you know what I mean, and thinking I hope I don't break down or whatever.
Who missed out that day?
It was Kevin Thompson. It was Tomo, aye. Which was
So it would have been between
hard.
you two.
Aye, it would have been hard because he'd come on he came on against Hearts in the semis or the quarters when we were 2-0 down, and was phenomenal. Pulled it back to 2 each. I remember Paul Hanlon scored in the last minute away, and we got the return
Cummings
leg.
looking header.
Yeah. And then we got the return leg, and we put them out, and so Tomo was brilliant leading up to that. And it was a toss up with me and him. Stubbs went with me, which Tomo was the best guy ever, honestly. Great guy. Like, even though he was the one missing out, he was on the bus on the way to the game and stuff. He knew I was a bit nervous about not breaking down and stuff, and he was arm round me. Don't worry about it. Just go play your game. Don't worry about anything else. Just go play. So he was brilliant that way.
He was probably hoping you came off after 5 minutes.
No, he missed out completely.
Did he?
Completely. I don't think he was on the bench. I think he was either going to start or he wasn't playing. Yeah, because he kept Marvin Bartley. Like, Marv would have been the one on the bench. The bench. Do you know what I mean? So Tomo was going to play, or Bartley would have been the one on the bench if I played. So he was. So yeah, he missed out completely, which it's really harsh on him. But he was a great guy. But yeah, Stubbsy went with me, and when the second goal went in, I thought, I've not got another 30 minutes in me. I thought, like, now extra time. I thought it's going to be extra time now. We've done great to get it extra time. I was like, I don't think I'm going to have another 30 minutes. And then thankfully, Dave popped up with another goal, and that was it, complete. So it saved me doing another 30 minutes.
And the scenes, obviously, the scenes at the end of that game, the sunshine and Leith and the supporters, that must be one of your career highlights?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely up there. Obviously, the Celtic debut and stuff, and my Scotland debut, but that's one of the ones where I look back and I think I'm so happy to be involved in that, what it means to the people. And I was speaking about it a few weeks ago at a Hibs event and stuff like that, and there was an older guy come up to me with his son and stuff, and he was kind of in tears telling me, and it was really emotional. He was saying, like, I used to go to the games with my dad when I was a kid. He was like, we used to go to all the games, all the cup finals. He's like, never got to see it. He's like, he passed away before, like a year or two before the cup final. He's like, so he never got to see it, but I took my son and I got to live it with him. That he's in tears and stuff and telling me, and I'm thinking, you don't realise how much people, that every person has got their own little story of that connection to that cup final, and we done that for them. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, at a personal level, it was great, like football wise, but just everything after it, and all the stories and what it meant to people, and that is probably what it means the most to me.
Did you ever think it would be that big when you, obviously, the open top bus going down Leith and the scenes of the people? And
I didn't know there was that many people in Edinburgh.
That many Hibs fans?
Yeah, it was scary. It was scary. Like, we can, up the top of Leith, you can round that corner and you go down and there's pictures of it, and it's just like, for as far as you can just see like green and white. People all out the kind of houses and the Leith walk and stuff like that, and it was unbelievable.
See, as a player, I preferred the day after.
Yeah.
I felt like during like the game day, you're just so worried about the game.
Yeah.
And, like, you had the injury worries, you're worried if it's like everything's sort of the next day. You just know that you're just going to enjoy it, can have a few beers.
The weight off your shoulder.
Weight off your shoulder, just like soak it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the day off was probably went like in an hour. It felt like an hour. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you come into the changing room and everybody's going mental, and then you're getting changed. You just want to get changed quickly to go see people and stuff like that. And then next minute we're on the bus and we're driving back to Edinburgh. I always remember obviously the traffic getting back. Everybody's heading back towards Edinburgh, and they pulled like kind of the people in the police escort pulled people into the hard shoulder and then onto the outside lane, and we come right through the middle. So it was like a standstill. And everybody, it was like something, and honestly, it was like a parade, and everybody's out the cars with their scarves and stuff, and we're coming. Stubbs is at the front, John Doolan and stuff is at the front with a trophy at the window, and like it's like something out of a movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's honestly like incredible. But as you said, it goes so quick. And then the second day with the.
Did you have a party at Easter Road? Did you all go back to Easter Road?
We went to Easter Road. We had a free bar. Leanne Dempster probably wasn't happy with that. Like,
surely.
Trying to save the money.
Petrie still at that time?
Rod, yeah.
Definitely not been happy.
Maybe give him one drink.
Yeah, he was giving tokens out for a drink. No, but like, yeah, we went back and we had a free bar and stuff like that, and all my family's heading through for Glasgow, and all the family and staff, and it was just brilliant. Karaoke, people dancing, and that was brilliant.
Plus, you see guys like Tam McCourt, who sadly is no longer with us. I was at there with Tam. Tam's Hibs daft.
Legend.
Wee Gavin.
Gav's still a legend.
There's guys like that. See, when I played in a couple of cup finals for Hibs, and you came after the game, you're spewing if you've lost. But then you look at guys like that, and you're thinking, fuck, I've just let them do it.
Yeah.
And that Scottish Cup, I remember watching it on the TV, and I was delighted for all the players, delighted for all the fans. But then I seen me Tam McCourt and Gavin and that.
See it in their face, couldn't you?
How good
That's
is
what
that
it's for, isn't it? Though that's what I was kind of. It's like for me as a player, it's brilliant, but it's no for me. Do you know what I mean? It's for everybody else. Like all the fans you meet still, all the people behind the staff. It went through everything. Tam and Joyce and Gav and all them people, and it's tremendous. And that was, to be fair, that was a good night because it was just all the staff and the family and the analysts and medical team. It was like we were all one. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't like there wasn't too many fans, and it was just like in house having a good night, having that kind of celebration together, and then obviously we get to go on the next day to the bus parade and stuff, which incredible.
Martin Boyle, Stokesy, ripped to arse with it. Were they were it for about 2 weeks?
They honestly they would do it. They would do.
Yeah, they would.
Jason, I don't know where Jason got found. We all put in the group chat and stuff like that because we all went back to John McGinn's. He had a flat himself at the time, so we all went back there like 5, 6 in the morning or something. I've got videos on my phone still, like, and it's like Dave Gray, me, Liam Fontaine, John McGinn, all of us, some of the mates and stuff like that, just having a party.
Dave and Fonts play the guitar now.
They've got the guitar out because they loved a bit of that. They've got a bit. Liam Fontaine's got a bit. So yeah, just all them sort of memories, and obviously Jason and stuff. They had a proper go. They were texting every day. I think it was like 4 days after, like who's on it today and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm going home.
There comes a point where Jason's just a bit too much.
I've had
It's the last game of the season and on it, so there's no training in it.
No training.
That was it. Yeah, it was just like, go and have a good time. Yeah.
Guys, obviously resenting top winning a cup final. Obviously you won it with Hearts. Resenting top that. I wasn't lucky enough to win a final, but
no, I don't think so. I think, like what Dylan said, it's more that everyone behind the scenes at the club that have been there for a long time, and you know, I think never been at Celtic and Rangers, but I think that just becomes a habit of continually winning stuff. Whereas Hearts and Hibs and some of the other clubs, they only get that sort of maybe one final in 5, 6, 10 years that they get that opportunity to do it. So, you know, even as a sort of ex-Hearts player and fan, I was delighted when Hibs won it because they got to experience what Hearts fans had experienced against them, you know, those few years earlier, and get the parade and get those memories with their parents, their sons, their cousins, their aunties. And yeah, like what Dylan said, there's nothing better than, you know, when a fan comes up to you and explains that whole day, and they can take you through every single moment, who they were with. They just remember everything, and to have played a part in that's pretty special.
We're talking about John McGinn. Did you see John going from Hibs to the level that he's got at now, the Champions League?
Yeah, no, I think it's hard to kind of project where somebody's going to go, do you know what I mean, and put a ceiling on where they can go, but you could see the attributes that I had, do you know what I mean, like, not technically, not like, oh, he's going to be the best player technically in the teams, all this kind of stuff, but just everything else, do you know what I mean, like, the work rate, the determination as a person as well, like, he ticks all the boxes for, like, a manager looking at someone, do you know what I mean, like, he does tick a lot of boxes, and obviously, physically, he can deal with stuff like that, and he was a big game player, do you know what I mean, like, he used to, like, some of the big games, he used to take it with scruff of the neck, if it's a tackle, or it's a run, or something, do you know what I mean? He would be the catalyst to get us going a bit, do you know what I mean? Like,
he always did those little things that got everybody going.
He'd go on like a little run where he would like bounce off a few people in a tackle or something. And
he would drive, he would run into someone, the ball would break, he'd then go and win the tackle and start driving again, and then you'd be on the front foot again.
And it gets that, he's got that energy about him, do you know what I mean? And obviously, you never know with someone, they go down south and then he kicks on. Do you know what I mean? He kicks on and then he goes, and then obviously as a team and a club they've been great, and he's captain now. So yeah, you could tell he's going to be a top player. Do you know what I mean? You could tell he's going to be a top player.
David Gray, we're speaking about him. Obviously a Hibs legend as a player. Obviously tough start as a manager at Hibs. It looked as if he was under pressure a couple of times. Did you see him becoming a manager? Obviously both of you know. Did you see him becoming a manager, and can you imagine kind of playing under him just now? What it would be like?
I think for me, I've said it quite a few times this season, I think he was well placed to now step into the Hibs first team coach role. I think for me, he'd seen a lot of things that maybe worked at Hibs, and a lot of things, especially over the last couple of years, that haven't worked well. So I felt David getting in and obviously steadying the ship, it was the right fit. Listen, did I see the start that Hibs had coming? No, I didn't. But how they've performed since that Aberdeen game has just been honestly incredible, and to top that off, and how he's actually acquitted himself as a person, and how his personalities came across, especially in the press, has been first class. So I'm not surprised.
As a teammate, did you see him being a manager, or did he ever talk about I want to be the manager, or was he just one of those sort of?
He was very
quiet in dressing room.
observant, I would say. So
it's hard because by the time I played with him, like nobody was really thinking about coaching, and do you know what I mean? We wouldn't really talk about anything away from football, apart from what we were doing. So it was hard to know what his thoughts were on him as a coach or whatever he was doing. But you could see like the management probably, like he was a serious guy, and he could have a laugh as well. But you could see that he'd probably be good at managing people. Do you know what I mean? Like gets on with everybody, but he's got that kind of like, if he needs to say something serious, do you know what I mean? Like you would listen to him. Do you know what I mean? Like he'd be able to kind of switch that on, where he's like not just laughing and jokey all the time. Do you know what I mean? He's got a serious side, and yeah, as Scott was saying, like he had a tough start obviously, and I'm glad that the club stuck by him. Do you know what I mean? Because it'd probably been easy enough for the club to kind of do what they've been doing the last few years, is like change managers and everything else. So they stuck by him, and there's no better guy for it to turn round and be the guy at the head of the table. Do you know what I mean? Driving Hibs forward. Obviously a cup legend. Do you know what I mean? A club legend, and now he's a manager doing great things.
And I think on top of that, the one person who can carry in the playing squad together with the fans, David Gray, is going to be your guy, and that was the one thing that I felt was missing for Hibs in previous seasons.
Obviously, you had a great success at Hibs. You left to go to Aberdeen. How did that move come about, and was it difficult because of COVID to try and settle up in Aberdeen? I know it was around about the COVID period.
Yeah, so I had a good spell at Hibs obviously, and I was getting into my last year, and Jack Ross went to Sunderland and wanted to take me down, so I went down to Sunderland with Jack. Obviously, again, a tough time for the club. They just went down to League One when they were top to they were looking to go out the Championship into the Premier League, and they went down the way. So there was a lot of turmoil with the fans and the club, and a lot of turnover in players and new manager coming in. So there was a lot of kind of difficult things to deal with, and Jack had a lot of things to deal with. So it was a tough time. But then the Aberdeen thing came up like a year or two later. Derek, obviously McInnes, wanted to sign me before I went to Sunderland. I spoke to him before. But then I explained to him that I wanted to go down England and give it a go, kind of thing. So once he knew that I was kind of looking to leave Sunderland, he was straight on the phone again, and went up to Aberdeen. Only had a few games. I went up in January, had a few games, done pretty well, and then obviously COVID came, which was a nightmare, because I just had my little one as well the day after COVID, and yeah, I think just a lot of life changes, and obviously the world was different back then. You know what I mean, like that kind of 6 to 8 months, and found it difficult. Obviously things opened up a bit again, and again as a club we struggled a little bit, especially where Aberdeen were at. They were second and third. Do you know what I mean? Like every year, and then we kind of struggled a little bit.
The expectation had a part to play in that as well, because of how consistent it had been. Well, Rangers were obviously out of the league at the time as well. At times.
Yeah, I think obviously probably a kind of victim of his own success. Do you know what I mean? Like he was always up there, like cup finals. I think he's probably just really unlucky that the fact that he ran across Brendan Rodgers' Celtic team, and maybe, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 cup finals or whatever it was. Like just so unlucky that any other year, you see some of the other winners. You know what I mean? They've had maybe a bit better games suited, but that Celtic team over the couple of years were just incredible. So yeah, he was unlucky not to win. Well, he won one of the cups, didn't he? But not to win some more. But yeah, I enjoyed my time up there, and it was a great city. We settled really well, and obviously my kids and stuff like that up there. So yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. But obviously the football side of it, we kind of never really achieved what we looked to.
Obviously, a big game at the weekend, Aberdeen and Hibs. Battle for third place. How do you see that going now? Fancy Hibs to go and clinch it?
I think Hibs are probably favourites, to be honest, just through the run that they're on, the confidence and what that brings. But Aberdeen, I think, obviously getting to a cup final as well last week, I think that'll give them a little boost as well. So they've had a kind of up and down season. They started really well, struggled a bit, looked to pick up again the last few months. So it'll be a good match. But I think probably with the run they're on, I think Hibs will probably go up there and look to get the 3 points.
And finally, before you go, Dylan, it's been great to have you in. You're now at Carlisle United, obviously out injured at the time, working under Mark Hughes. How's that been, working under Mark Hughes and back down playing in England again in League Two?
Yeah, back down there, and I've enjoyed it. Obviously, again, we've not really done what we'd looked to this season. We've struggled. couple of turnovers and managers, a few different managers, and a lot of different players at each time. But yeah, Mark Hughes coming in, obviously he's a huge name, do you know what I mean, as a player and a manager, so I'm doing my badges now, so even just working under him and seeing how they do things is when I'm out injured now, so try to learn as much as possible through them away from football. So yeah, we've got a few games left, so hopefully we can get the job done. But yeah, just seeing people at that standard, how they work day in day out, is great for me, and when I follow my career and kind of coaching and stuff.
It's been brilliant. It's brilliant having Dylan in. Great insight into your career so far, Dylan. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening, and please subscribe to the PLZ YouTube channel.